Ooh, baby! Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. And remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all the information that I have in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And this is The Oval, Season 1, Episode 6, and the name of this episode is Lab Rats. Man, this episode was fire, y'all! Oh my goodness, man. Tyler Perry has outdone himself with this show because every single episode gets better and better. And I'm like, literally like, yo, this is going to be some crazy shit. But before I get started, I'd like to wish all of you a happy Thanksgiving. You know, have a safe and blessed one. To all of my followers and everyone who sees this video, enjoy your family, enjoy the turkey, and definitely enjoy the itis. So, now that I said that, let's get this thing rolling. Now, the episode picks up with Corinne and Sharon, and they're at the pharmacy. They going back and forth, and Sharon is giving, like, this attitude or whatever. And Kareem starts, saying like, yo, what's up with this attitude? I'm not him. And she's like, go to hell. And he's like, there you go. The hostility. You're taking out all this frustration on that you're having with him on me. And then it's like, and I'm the one that really cares about you. And she's like, yeah, and you want to sleep with me. And he's like, look, I'm a man. And she's like, yeah, you're a man with another woman. I mean, wasn't Michelle just in here? So her name was Michelle. It's not Rachel. Stand corrected. But then he said that, look, you coming in here all mad and you falling all over the place. I can tell you're not happy. I know you and all of this shit. So he's really laying it on thick that he really is in love with her, and you know how I am. I love hard, and then she's like, well, okay, but it's too late. And he's like, is it? And I also asked that question too. Is it? But then she again says, but you're with Michelle. And he's like, I still love you. And she says that, look, Barry is not perfect. He has his issues, but we will work it out. And soon as she said that, she walks a few steps and check this. Barry is sitting there and he is fuming. And I'm like, oh shit. He about to go off yet again. Because Barry has been on one since his daughter went missing. But let me just say this about Barry. Now, I know in my reviews I've been going in on Barry. I completely understand why Barry is so upset and irate, and it's just so misguided that he's taking it out on everybody that he's close to. So Barry pretty much just flips the fuck off and was like, why the hell you talking to this clown about me? And they go back and forth, and then like Kareem started intervening and shit, and I'm like, Kareem? There's a lesson that when there's something going on between a man and a woman, see your way out of it. It's an A and B conversation. Now, if he gets physical with her, you can intervene. But if they're going back and forth, you don't get in the middle of that. And the fact that Kareem kept getting in the middle of it, it just made Barry react even more, And he pretty much, and he's saying like, so you talking to him about me? Tell me. Is it the truth or no? What's good? What's really happening? You talking to him about me? That's what you doing? And all this shit. And pretty much, Kareem was like, she said no, maybe you hard of hearing. I heard it's a free clinic down the street. I'm like, Kareem, this is not the time to be talking your shit. Cause the next thing you know, he pretty much tells her that you quitting, you leaving. I ain't want you working this damn job anyway. She's like, I'm not quitting. He's like, oh yes you are. You quitting now. And he literally like grabbed her, was about to walk out, and then the next thing you know, she says, no, I'm not quitting. And then Kareem gets in it, and then the next thing you know, Both of them motherfuckers are fighting. You know, they literally fucked that pharmacy up. And it was like, I was like, damn. Like, he already getting into more shit. And I'm like, Barry, your madness is so unfocused that you are just creating more of a hole for yourself every single time. And also, I'm going to say one thing I talked about in the last episode was presented again this episode. So they get into a fight. You know, he kind of got some damn good licks on Kareem, though. But Kareem, when he really started to get on top and started to beat Barry's ass, that's when Sharon intervened, because she knows why he's acting the way he's acting. She knows that he's really over the top or whatever. So pretty much, you know, after the fight, he pretty much again tells her, you're leaving. And he's like, I'm not leaving. He says, you better leave this job or else. And she says, don't you come in here and give me no damn ultimatum. And he's like, you know, you either come home with me or don't come back at all. And I'm like, ooh, shit. And she's like, I'm not leaving. And he's like, oh, all right. And then he walked out. And I was like, yo. So Sharon is now in the midst of some drama between her boyfriend Barry and her co-worker Kareem, who used to be her boy back in the day. You know, her boyfriend back in the day and shit. And he even admitted that in that scene that, you know, before the fight happened, that, yeah, I had you and I messed up. And she's like, well, yeah, it's too late now, you know. And he's like, is it? I'm like, that shit was crazy. So then afterwards, we get a scene with Jason and Gail. Jason comes in there and says that, you know, I found a way to get you out of here. And she's like, man, get the hell out of here, creep. I don't want to hear your bullshit. And he's like, I found a way out. He's like, there is no way out. We're being watched in here like lab rats. You know, hence the name of the episode. But he's like, but if I tell you, it's gonna cost you. And and if anything, they go back and forth. And again, she just tells him, like, you know what? Just get the hell out of here. I don't got time to hear this shit. And then he begins to tell her that, look, I'm saying I found a way out. And think about it. You would be gone and nobody would even know you're gone. You know, think about it. You know, and she's like, well, if your shit is so, if your plan is so soundproof, how come you don't sneak out? He's like, I don't really have nowhere to go. But you do. And you will pay me back. But think about it. You can get out of here and you can go be with Picky. Oh, she was game on. And I'm like, this is probably the center of her whole anger, her outburst, and why she's being such a rude little bitch is because she wants to be with Picky. She is in love with Picky. And later on, we see why, honey. Woo! Child, we see why. So she's like, okay, so she agrees to see his little plan. And when she even walked out, she slammed the door on Jason's ass. I'm like, you rude as hell. Dang, that damn Gail. But hey, like mother, like daughter. Real talk. All right, so then we get a scene with Priscilla comes to Richard's house. Richard is sitting in the front. And again, I think something went down between Priscilla and Richard, and I'm not letting it go. But if I'm wrong, I will say I'm wrong. But I have a hunch that they done had an affair or something, you know, because their chemistry and the way that they connect, it's like, it's very sketchy. But they have a very strong closeness. And she goes there to talk to him, and she's saying that, look, you know, I gotta tell you something. And he's like, what, are they giving me my job back? And she's like, well, we're working on that. But she talks about how Veronica tased Gail. Y'all remember? Yang! Now, I laughed because this shit was hilarious because Victoria is so grimy and so evil that she would do it. But the fact about it is that you did that shit to your own child. Like, there is really no love, you know, between the parents and the kids as far as that first family. That first family is so damn dysfunctional and make you want to slap your mama. Like, what the hell is this? So, and she actually said that she kind of felt bad for them and she wondered why she's such a wild ass kid. Like, yeah, look at our parents. You know, the apple didn't fall too far from the tree. But then Richard begins to say, like, man, I don't know if I want to go back. And she's like, yeah. But she's like, oh, hell no, we're not doing that. She's like, we have been through a whole lot of situations, you know, over the years. And yeah, maybe, you know, a lot of the things didn't work out and there were issues that we were dealing with other administrations, but we've always stuck it out. And he's like, yeah, because we had each other. And I was like, okay, there's another dip there that, yeah, something I think went on with them. And then she's going to go in the house to see Nancy, you know, because, you know, her, Priscilla, and Sam are very close with them. And they also talked about that Sam is going to, you know, that Sam is going to look into trying to find Callie. You know, he's talking to some people, probably some people in the FBI and CIA. But then she decides to go in and talk to Nancy, and he lets her know, don't tell Nancy anything. And I'm like, I was wondering why he was keeping this from her. But how Nancy reacted told a lot. You know, Nancy is... Yeah, I'm about to get to that. So Priscilla goes inside and her and Nancy talk. She talks about the whole situation with Callie and that it's all her fault. You know, and then, Priscilla was like, you know, talking about Ruth, man, that girl is just trouble. And then Ruth lets her know that Ruth is dead. And she's like, well, what happened to Callie? And she's like, I don't know. But then she said that, you know, Sam is going to help with this. And, because, Callie was pretty much abducted by a cult. You need some higher ups to kind of break that because these cults can be dangerous, not only psychologically, but also physically. And then all of a sudden, Nancy went back to it. She's like, can I ask you something, Priscilla? Why is Richard here? And she's like, he took the day off. She's like, oh, so you gonna lie to me too? Like, Priscilla knows her man. And she was like, well, he needs to tell you, Nancy. And then all of a sudden, Richard comes in. He finally lets her know that he got fired. And he also lets her know about, that Gail framed Barry for rape and all of that. And Nancy just gets so upset and so beside herself. She's like, oh my God, I gotta go pray. And she just started flipping out. And I'm like, see, that's where Barry gets the shit from. Which is why I can say I understand Barry more now. Because his mother just lost it. And she's just like, no. I can't believe this. I gotta go pray. I was like, yeah, that shit worked her up. And then all of a sudden we see Richard and Priscilla in the kitchen. Again, giving off that chemistry that something more happened between them. And he's like, I thought I told you not to tell her. She's like, I didn't. You told her yourself. So that was the end of that. Then we get a scene where Gina's in Jason's room cleaning. Jason comes in there, still doing that creepy shit. Did I scare you? And she's like, no, you're fine. And he's like, do you get time off? And then starts saying that, don't you drive the gray car, with the Cal State sticker? And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Gene should have kind of been, really concerned that, okay, how the hell does he know all this shit? And she's like, well, how do you know? He says, from the, from binoculars from the roof. Like, how the hell he get on the roof with all that Secret Service? Like, alarm should have rung into her brain that this boy is doing too damn much. And then she says, so are you going to show me around? And she's like, well, the head usher is gonna do it too. He's like, no, I don't want her. Like, I want you. And he's like, so, what time did you say you get off? And she's like, I didn't. And, because every time she tried to leave, he will call her back in. And I'm like, that damn Jason wants Jean. And it's just really creepy of how messed up, Jason really is. But again, Jason is also a byproduct of having parents that are completely screwed up. That explains why Jason is so screwed up and why he's creepy and why he's weird and why he's doing all this messy shit. But, Jean pretty much is kind of like on edge because she's like, what the hell is wrong with this kid? Something ain't right here. But eventually he lets her leave. So then we get a scene with Picky and Barry. Picky's his cousin, and of course we know Gail's in love with Picky, and yet she framed Barry for rape and they cousins. So it's crazy as shit. When that shit gets out, that's really gonna be some shit. Especially if Barry rolls up and sees the two of them together. Oh, that's gonna be some shit. But anyway, Barry and Picky, have a meet out. Barry, Picky's out, hanging out and shit, in the hood, and pretty much Picky just picks up that shit ain't right with Barry. He's like, man, you look strung out. He's just like, yeah, I just got in a fight with that punk Kareem, up at the pharmacy, and and he was like the stash spot. And then Barry's like, what you mean? He's like, man, that store shit is a front. You're like, that fool ain't legit? I was like, oh shit. And he says that, shoot, everybody know. He got a big shipment from New York coming in, so he's probably selling pharmaceuticals on the street, low-key shit, writing prescriptions and, writing false prescriptions and giving people, medicine and shit. And he was like, is Sharon in on this? And she's like, shoot, Sharon be cutting it. She be like, he pretty much implied that Sharon is working with this shit. And he's like, man, why in the hell did you tell me about this shit? He's like, I ain't tell you because you were so in love. I'm like, Picky's a mess. And he's like, man, fuck her. It's over. He's like, yeah, I'm about to head home and pack her shit. I'm like, Barry is on one. And it's just like, you can't give Barry no kind of information because anything you give him, he's going to take it to 10 and beyond. So, and then he asked about this dude, one of the guy that he took the gun from. He finds out that the guy is locked up. And I'm like, I wonder why. Kind of goes back to what I was saying in the last episode, but I'm going to get to that. And then he also tells him that Barry also tells Picky that Ruth is dead, and he's like, dude, I told you that gun had heat. He's like, nah, she got stabbed. And pretty much he was like, yo, and then like Picky starts telling him that, look, you really was on one last night, man. I understand, but you need to cool that down. And we kind of saw in that moment Barry kind of cooled a little bit. Just a little bit. So we see that a lot of this craziness that we're seeing from Barry is because he lost his daughter. He got framed for rape. He possibly shot somebody. He got a lot on him and then just got in a fight with Kareem. So he just has all of these different scenarios and it's just digging deeper and deeper into his psyche, into his emotional state. And I'm thinking he gets like his emotional reactions from his mom. Because we see that Richard is very cool and calm. He don't got that edge like his father. He reacts just like his mom. So that made more sense. But shout out to Von Hebron, who plays the role of Barry. You doing an excellent job, brother. Keep up the good work, bro. You really did this shit in this episode. So then we get a scene in the White House between Donald and Hunter. Donald is still trying to get some work done, and Hunter still is uninterested with anything dealing with his political role. He asked him about the damn theater. How do we get a bigger theater and shit? And I'm like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden the lady comes in and she's like, Mr. President. And he's like, yes. And she's like, the First Lady. And she's like, did she tell you to come in here and do that shit? She's like, yes, she did. And she enters in with Lily. And then, Lily, she kind of says that, oh, yes, we had a great day out together. And then Victoria mentions, like, Lily and, Donald, like, look at them. Don't they look so good with each other? They love each other so much. And then like, Donald asks Lily, like, did you enjoy yourself shopping? She's like, oh yes, it's everything I wanted, you know. And then we see that Donald and Lily leave, and then immediately Hunter starts in on Victoria. He's like, what the hell are you up to? And she's like, what are you talking about? He says, shopping. And she's like, oh, I went to your whore store. And he's like, what whore? You know, the one that you screwed up in the White House. She's like, what the hell did you do? She's like, I went there and I whooped her ass. You know, I mopped the floor with the bitch. And then she's like, did you call her? And he's like, yeah, but she's not returning my calls. And she was like, oh, I thought I was going to have to make 2 visits. I'm like, that damn Victoria is a hot ass mess. And she's like, what the hell is your problem? And she's like, I'm protecting what's mine. And he's like, really? You think I'm yours? And she's like, you? Please. I don't give a shit about you. I'm talking about the Oval. I'm like, you better come through, fucking Victoria. She all about her fucking prestige, and that's all the fuck she care about. Then we go back to the pharmacy. The pharmacy's completely fucked up. Kareem got a bloody nose, and that's what you get because you got in between somebody's relationship. And when you do that shit, you take good, bad, or different that comes with that. And she's kind of apologizing. She's sorry, whatever. And then finally the police show up, and he says that the police called, and Kareem's like, yeah, I was assaulted. And he's like, by who? And he was literally ready to give Barry the fuck up. And then Sharon was like, whoa, listen. He's like, you're defending him? I'm like, hell yeah, it's her man, stupid. As much as you are in love with Sharon, Sharon is not your woman. She's Barry's woman. Whether you like it or not, that's who she wants to fucking be with. Yeah, do I think she still got feelings for Kareem? Absolutely. But she's in love with Barry, and she knows that Barry's dealing with a lot of shit. And she mentions that, look, please don't do this, okay? I understand that Barry's fucked up right now, but Barry's going through a lot. His daughter's abducted, his daughter was taken, and he's just all over the place. And immediately the damn cops was like, oh, you mean Bartholomew Henley? Oh yeah, we're looking for him, pick the surveillance and everything. Yeah, we're about to pick his ass up. And Sharon is like, why? Why are you picking him up? And she was like, look, that's police information, and it's only for us to know. And then Sharon tries to call Nancy, and I'm like, see, I told y'all asses, with him leaving, they gonna find that damn surveillance of that area where the old man was shot, the deacon. And they're gonna trace the surveillance and probably saw his car, and his car got the bullet hole in it. And I'm like, that damn Barry just can't catch a break for shit. Then we get a scene with Donald and Lily, and Donald starts asking Lily, well, how was it, hanging out with the first lady? Give me the truth. And she was like, strange. And she didn't like it. She's like, she's strange. And then she's still asking about the damn intruder. And I'm like, Lily, you are an idiot. And I was so happy when Victoria called your ass out last week, because you just can't let this shit go. But then again, I can see why, because that ranger done lift you up and gave you a ride like you never had before, honey. Rodeo style. Up in the bathroom at Charlotte with your nasty ass. Anyway, and she's like, can I have a look at the profile? And he was like, and Donald's like, well, why? And she's like, because I shot a man. And then he kind of gives her some information that, yeah, he's a ranger. He has no wife and no kids and all of that. So it's plenty obvious that, Bobby got done caught like feelings for damn Lily, and he probably knows the truth about Donald, which is why he wants her. But Donald ain't letting Lily go because Lily is a trophy and she's his beard, clearly, and I'm explaining why. And he pretty much kept telling her, because she kept pushing it, and he was like, I don't want to talk about this no more. You just need to let this go and not bring it up again. But then he was like, well, so did you talk to her about this? Talking about Victoria. And she was like, oh no, I didn't talk to her about anything. She talked about herself. You know, all she ever does is talk about herself. And he's like, yeah, and so does he. Yeah, they're both narcissists. That's why they can't stand each other. They got too much in common. And they both had this power struggle when yet both of them cancel each other out because he wouldn't be in the White House if it wasn't for her. And she wouldn't be in the White House if it wasn't for him. So, you know, afterwards she finally leaves and everything. Then she runs into Kyle and, you know, she's still, I'm concerned about the intruder. I'm like, low-key, I think she want fucking Bobby. You know, regardless of what the hell she's trying to put up, she's trying to keep that perfect image, but Bobby done stirred up her grits. And she boiling, honey. You know, Bobby done gave her that meat and she just been cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs ever since. So after she's like, can we talk? And he was like, we can't talk here, but I'll call you. So then he goes in there to Donald's office and immediately all that suspectability we've been feeling starts coming to the surface. And he's like, and he pretty much says, as soon as he saw Cal, he's like, oh no, get the hell out. Get out. And he was like, well, I hear I just wanted to talk to you about you replacing me. He's like, look, we're just not a good fit. And he's like, I think we're a great fit. And also, the guy that plays Kyle is Brad Benedict from Too Close to Home. It took me a minute, but he played like a similar role. You know, this sinister, evil role. He's playing the same shit here. But this time, Kyle was just like, he's like, look, you know, and he's saying that, look, you should just work in another position. But he's like, but then Cal was like, no, I want you. I'm like, Donald, you done put it on them, baby. And he pretty much says that, look, if anything, we're not going to talk about this, especially not in this place. And he tells him to leave and don't come back. And all of a sudden he starts to walk away and Cal looks back. I'm like, think he going to change his mind. I'm like, you just going to make Cal even more crazier, Donald. Donald, he wants you. And he ain't going to stop until he gets you. So we're going to see how that situation is going to play out. But definitely something hot and something sinister went on between them two. And you can't tell me nothing different. Then we get a scene where Gail and Jason, because earlier they said, we're going to cause a distraction so I can get you out of here. We're going to cause a fight between mom and dad. So here it is. Gail's on the couch and she's crying or whatever. They crying and then Hunter's like, oh my God, what's going on, sweetheart? And she was like, Mom, tase me. And Hunter immediately gets upset because he gets really sensitive when it comes to his daughter. And he's like, are you kidding me? And she's like, yeah. She's like, when did this shit happen? They was like this morning, at the entry hallway, and some of the staff even saw it. Oh, and they like, and all of a sudden, Hunter's like, where's your mother? And Jason was like, in your room. He goes in there and he's like, have you lost your mind? He's like, did you tase our daughter? Yep. And she's like, yes, I did. I tased her like a black man on the street. I'm like, oh, you evil bitch. Oh, they go back and forth and he's like, and she's like, first of all, I'm getting tired of dealing with this shit. Yeah, you can feel all sentimental now, but I'm the one that's dealing with this 16-year-old disrespectful teenager. And she's saying that shit. I'm not taking this shit no more. So, and I'm not taking her bullshit. So I did what I had to do. And he's like, oh my God, you really are a cold-hearted bitch. And then she says like, oh, you want to try me? And then he starts bringing up her threat assessment, saying what people say about her, that she's snotty, she's stuck up, and she cold. And she don't like it when people talk shit about her. Obviously, that's a weak spot. You say anything bad to that bitch, she snaps. And then he starts going in like, oh yeah, one person said they wanted to rape you, one person said he wanted to eat you, and one person said he wanted to feed you your own flesh. And he's just throwing the damn assessment in her face like, read it. And she flips out. They start fighting. SS comes in and here it is. She done threw a vase at his ass. Then this bitch runs into the wall and starts screaming like he did something to her and pretty much knocks herself down. And then we see that Max actually attends to her, and he's like literally stroking her, and I'm like, oh, I'm thinking Max is kind of getting a little fancy with her. Then we see that Gene, we get a scene with Sam and Gene. Gene's leaving, and Sam's like, I want to talk to you. And Gene was like, oh, so Priscilla told you? She's like, yeah. He's like, and she's like, oh, he's fine. He's just a creepy kid. But she's like, but he's the president's kid, and he can really make some crazy shit happen. He got a lot of power, you know. And he lets her know something strange happens, tells me. And she's like, okay. But then, you know, they mention about him being on the tour and all that him wanting the tour and all that. And eventually she leaves. Then we get a scene with Richard and Nancy back at the house. And he's letting her know, I'm worried about you. And we come to find out the reason why he's so worried is because Nancy has a heart condition. But she's like, I just had to pray. How can that girl lie on my son? And remember, they said that no one was supposed to know about that. That was Donald's instructions to him. But hey, they fired his ass, so Richard at this point don't give a shit. And she's like, she realized the danger she put on our child. And she's like, something ain't right with that girl. And then like Richard said that, yeah, you know, she's troubled. She's very troubled. But she's like, that is not all right. I'm not taking this. And then she starts questioning him about Barry. What would Barry do, you know, to protect his daughter? And Richard said he'll do any and everything. He's like, you know, and he'll go all the way. And she's like, is that right? And then pretty much she's saying that, you know, and then he also lets her know that he also had a gun, and she's about to flip out again. And he was like, look, you know, and she says, why wouldn't you tell me that? He's like, look, you know, I took the gun from him. I got the gun. So the gun is now in Richard's possession, and Richard could go down for holding a weapon. So I'm saying it's like that whole situation, a whole bunch of people can get trapped because Picky's boy's in jail because I think the police picked him up, and now they're looking for Barry. You know, they just putting all the dominoes together. And eventually, Richard gonna get caught up in the shit because Richard's holding the gun. But then she starts asking about the kitchen knife and the that her butcher knife was missing, you know, and pretty much, you know, Richard was like, no, Barry would not do nothing like that. You know, you have to remember, this is your son. And I'm like, yeah, because even last episode when they was at the police station and they was asking, the detective was asking Barry's whereabouts, and then Nancy was like, you know, he said that I was home and everybody was home with me. And then when they asked Nancy's like, I don't know. I'm like, really, bitch? Like, and Barry kind of gave her that look like, really, Ma? You really gonna serve me to the damn police? And that shit was crazy. So all of a sudden, we get a scene where Jean gets out of her car to go to her apartment, and all of a sudden in the trunk somebody gets out, and it's Gail dressed as a maid. She calls Picky. She goes to meet up with Picky. She's disguised as a maid. And he's like, how did you get away? How did you do this shit? Like, did anybody follow you? She's like, no, I snuck out. And then I'm like, this damn girl is willing to put herself through all hell and high water to be with Picky because that's her boo. Next thing you know, they go back and forth, and she's like, I want to stay with you. He's like, no, you got to go back. And she's like, well, fine, but, you know, let me smoke and, you know, let me spend some time with you. And she's like, I'm just so horny. Next thing you know, they get it in, and I'm like, that's what it was. Picky done tore her up and got her all the way open, and that's why she been acting crazy, because she been wanting some Picky. She been wanting Picky to pick flowers in her garden up in the bitch. So we saw that go down. And here it is. I've been talking over 30 minutes, so you know this episode was good. Then we get the last scene between Victoria and Max, the SS officer, and she's like playing the, you know, that son of a bitch. You know, won't you talk to me? You know, just talk to me. He's like, ma'am. I was like, stop calling me ma'am, damn it. Just talk to me. You see how he treats me. You've been with us since we were in the governor's mansion. You know how he treats me. And he treats me so awful. And he's like, I'm sorry, ma'am. And she's like, you know what? Just go outside. Just leave. And as soon as he's about to leave, she's like, wait. And then she starts throwing herself on him like, kiss me. He's like, I'm a married man. He's like, I won't tell her, I promise. Just kiss me. I haven't felt this way in a long time. And then all of a sudden, she starts going down on him. And he's, ma'am. I'm like, oh, shit. It's about to go down. But that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, get down in those comments. Let me know your thoughts on it. This episode was fire, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So until next time, everybody, take care.